Hey guys, this is going to be part one of my birth video, just kind of explaining how we got to giving birth. It was, let's see, January 21st, Adelia was born. She was born at 8:09 p.m. in the evening. The funny thing is, Brian was born at 36 weeks and 6 days, Wyatt was born at 37 weeks, and Adelia was born at 37 weeks and 1 day. Couldn't have done that on purpose if I tried. I don't know how that happened, I don't know why it happened, but it happened. So I guess it was meant to be that she came when she did. So I'm just going to kind of explain to you what happened leading up to us going and having a C-section. Like I said, on Monday, January 21st, I was getting ready for work. I had eaten lunch, and I'd gotten partway dressed. I pretty much just needed to switch from my black yoga pants to my maternity jeans, because yoga pants are awesome, but they're not necessarily work appropriate. Unless we have a fitness day, but we weren't that day. So I was getting ready, and I just kind of started to not feel very good. I got really dizzy. Lightheaded, nauseous. I started to have a headache behind my eyes. When I tried to walk, I could feel, I guess the best way I could explain it would be like if, you know, we're really drunk. If I had drank a lot, which obviously I hadn't drank anything, but just that really drunk and not being able to kind of stand up straight and walk a straight line, and just that really disoriented feeling that you get when you have a little bit too much to drink, which, let's face it, a lot of us have done that before. Anyway, so I was really dizzy and not feeling so good, and I thought that I had just kind of overdone things, and if I just lay down for a couple of minutes before getting the rest of the way dressed and heading out to work, that I would feel better. So I went into the bedroom where Ethan was, and I laid down and closed my eyes. And again, like when you're really drunk and you close your eyes and you feel like the bed is spinning and moving, and you know full well that it's not, but it feels like everything's moving, that was the feeling that I had. And I kind of explained it to Ethan. I said, this is really weird. I don't feel well. I just don't feel right. Something's off. And we discussed it for a little while and decided that I should call the OB nurse and just kind of ask and see what they think. So I sent a message to my coworker to let him know that I wasn't feeling very well. I was going to talk to the nurse, but as long as she gave me the okay, I would be to work. I just might be a little bit late and not be able to pick up the person that I was going to be picking up. But I had planned on coming to work, you know, unless they told me to come to the hospital. And I called and left a message and explained how I was feeling, and then the nurse called back, and it felt like an eternity waiting for her to call. But she called back, and I explained to her again that I was dizzy, I was lightheaded, I was having trouble walking a straight line. When I laid down and closed my eyes, I felt like the bed was spinning, my head hurt, my stomach hurt, I was nauseous, my vision was starting to get blurry. I had gone to check my blood pressure because I have a blood pressure cuff, just one of these little wrist ones. I had issues with my blood pressure in my early 20s. I haven't, except for recently, obviously, had any issues, but I still have this cuff. I mean, it's like over a decade old, but it works. So while I was waiting for her to call back, I had taken my blood pressure, and I'm trying to remember what it was now. It was like 145 over 89, so mildly elevated, but not awful, and definitely higher than my blood pressure had been the entire pregnancy. I had had no issues whatsoever with blood pressure. My numbers had been perfect, so a little high. And she didn't do a very good job at keeping herself calm in order to keep me calm. And you know, whatever, I don't hold it against her. I'm not saying that was bad, but I could just tell in her voice that something was wrong. And she was panicking a little bit. She suddenly, after I explained everything to her, she suddenly jumped to, where are you? And I said, I'm at home. Where's your husband? He's home with me. It was Martin Luther King Day, so he didn't have work and they didn't have school. So I said, you know, he's home with me because of the holiday. And she said, do you have a babysitter for your kids? And I said, again, it's a holiday, so my 14-year-old is home from school, and he can babysit my 2-year-old. And she said, good, because I don't want you having to wait for a babysitter. Okay, you're starting to freak me out a little bit. And she asked, do you live in town? And I said, yeah, we live just outside of town. Well, how long is it going to take you to get here? I don't know, maybe 20 minutes by the time we round everything up and head downtown. She said, okay, I don't want to alarm you too much. I don't want to freak you out. I don't want you to drive crazy and get yourself into a car accident, because that's going to make everything worse. But I want your husband, not you, I want your husband to drive you to the hospital now. I want you to get here ASAP. Again, I'm like, oh my God, okay. Because when I called, I felt kind of dumb. I felt like maybe I thought I just overdone it, getting ready for work, being 9 months pregnant. And here this nurse is freaking out, telling me to get to the hospital now. And I'm thinking in my head, oh my God, I'm going to get down there and it's going to be nothing. And I'm going to feel like a total moron. And I wasted everybody's time and got everybody worried for nothing. But she was freaking out and telling me to get down there now. So okay, whatever. And I let my husband know that we needed to get going. And I attempted to call my coworker to let him know that I wasn't coming in tonight, and I pulled out my phone and I went to the contact list, and I just sat there with my thumb kind of hovering over the list of names. I could not remember who I was supposed to be calling or why I was supposed to be calling them, and it took me a minute to remember, oh yeah, I gotta call so-and-so. So I scrolled down to his name, and then I sat there for a while. Am I trying to call his work cell phone, or am I trying to call his personal cell phone? And it took me forever okay, I gotta call the work cell phone. And then once I realized I gotta call the work cell phone, I again got stuck on, why am I calling him? What am I going to say to him when he picks up the phone? And again, it took me another minute to process the fact I need to call my coworker on his work cell phone to tell him that the nurse told me to get my butt down to triage now. And so I'm heading to the hospital. I'm not going to make it into work. And I told him when I talked to him, don't worry about it. I'll get it figured out. I'll be back to work tomorrow. He didn't believe me, and it's probably a good thing he didn't believe me. I feel bad. I hate calling in sick. I hate missing work, and I hate leaving them in a bind, rushing around, especially that kind of last minute. And that was how quick it came on. I was fine, and then I wasn't. And it was very last minute that he had to try and round things up and get someone else to pick up the kid that I was supposed to be picking up. And I just felt awful about it. So he said it was fine, don't worry about it, just go to the hospital and take care of yourself. So we went down to the hospital, we checked into triage. I again went over my symptoms with that nurse and let her know what was going on. They hooked me up to a blood pressure cuff and a pulse ox and the belly monitor so they could keep track of how Adelia was doing. One of the OBs came in, we discussed what was going on, and he said, your blood pressure just keeps going up. We're taking a measurement every 15 minutes, and every 15 minutes it's a little bit higher, and a little bit higher, and a little bit higher. So we're going to send you over to labor and delivery, and we're going to have them monitor you for a while and maybe start you on a little bit of medication to try and bring your blood pressure back down. So they shipped us down the hallway to labor and delivery, and that's exactly what they did. They hooked me up to the blood pressure cuff, hooked up the belly monitors again, the pulse ox. It took a half an hour to get an IV put in so they could start me on the magnesium, which magnesium is, it's horrible. It's horrible. I hate it. It's awful. I never ever want to experience it again. But that was supposed to help bring my blood pressure down, so after poking me a million times to finally find a vein to get the IV in, they started the magnesium, and they needed to cath me to get a urine sample, and even with the magnesium, my blood pressure kept going up, so they decided to go ahead and cath me and put a Foley catheter in and just start talking about a C-section. The anesthesiologist that had put in the IV and that came in to talk to me was very, we're doing a C-section, we're doing it now, we're doing it tonight, we're doing it at 7 o'clock, so just prepare to get ready to go. But the OB that was coming in and talking to me was very wishy-washy on whether or not we were going to do it, or if we were just going to keep monitoring me overnight and keep me on the magnesium and see what happens. And I don't know if he was just trying to put things off till shift change, because 7 o'clock was shift change. 7 o'clock is when that anesthesiologist thought that we were doing this, and it wasn't. But yeah, I don't know if he was just trying to put me off and wait for the next shift to come in, or if they were really unsure as what they wanted to do, if they just wanted to consult with the next shift. I don't know.